This video is a review of the SAT practice tests, questions 1 to 10 from section 3. Question 1. Which of the following expressions is equal to 0 for some value of x? Well, we have 4 absolute value equations. But if you look at the absolute value term, the least that can be is 0. That would be the smallest distance back to 0. So what we can do is we can figure out which values for x will make the expression, the absolute value expression, equal to 0. For A, that would be 1. For B, -1. C, it would be 1. And for D, it would be 1. Then the first term of each of these expressions will equal 0. But after the absolute value, there's either a step -1 or +1 in the formulas that follow. And so only A has a value that's less than 1. For B, C, and D, since we're adding 1 after the absolute value, as we can see here, here, and here, since the minimum that this can be is 0, all of these will be greater than or equal to 1. That's the minimum that they can be. So it must be choice A. By plugging in choice A as well, if we let x equals 2, then the absolute value term will be 2 minus 1 or 1. And 1 minus 1 is 0, is one of the solutions to when the expression equals 0. The correct answer was A. For question number 2, we're given a function f of x equals 3 halves x plus b. In the function above, b is a constant. If f of 6 equals 7, what's the value of f of -2? Well, for this question, we first plug in 6 into the equation, and we get 3 halves times 6, which is 9, plus b would give an output of 7. Subtracting 9 from both sides, we get that the b value is -2. Now we can set up the equation as a half x minus 2. And plugging in for f of -2, we'll have a half times -2, which is -3, minus 2, which is -5. And the correct answer was A, -5. For question 3, we're given a system of 2 equations, x over y equals 6, and 4 times y plus 1 equals x. If xy is the solution to the system of equations above, what is the value of y? Well, we can use substitution here because the first equation is a direct variation. By multiplying both sides by y, we get that x equals 6 times y. We can plug that into the right side of equation 2 by substitution. And we get 4 times y plus 1 equals 6y. Distributing, we get 4y plus 4 equals 6y. Subtract 4y from both sides and divide by 2. We get that 2 equals y. And the correct answer was A. Question number 4. If f of x equals -2x plus 5, what is f of -3x equals to? Well, a bit of a tricky problem here, but remember that whatever the expression is that's in the parentheses is being plugged in to the equation for x. It's not scaled times x. So what we get is -2 times -3x is 6x, not 6x squared, which is trick answer D. And then the constant remains the same at +5, and the correct answer was B. Question 5. 3 times 2x plus 1 times 4x minus 1, which of the following is equivalent to the expression above? Well, for this equation, first we'll multiply binomials using the FOIL method. First, outside, inside, last. Meaning, we'll first distribute 2x onto the second binomial, and then that second term, -1, will be distributed into the second binomial. Here we get 2x times 4x is 8x squared, 2x times 1 is 2x, and distributing the 1, we get 4x plus 1. We can combine the 2 middle terms to scale up to 6x, and now we have thrice 8x squared plus 6x plus 1, which is 24x squared plus 18x plus 3, and the correct answer was C. Question 6. If a minus b over b equals 3/7, which of the following must also be true? Well, here again, we have a proportion, and we can use our cross-multiply skills. If we cross-multiply the given equation, we get 7 times a minus b equals 3b. Distributing, we get 7a minus 7b equals 3b. Add 7b to both sides, and 7a equals 10b. Stop there because that's a very well simplified expression. We can cross-multiply the four given equations and see if there's any match at this point. And although A is 7a equals negative 4b, choice B is a perfect match. A times 7 is 7a, and 10 times b is 10b, and the correct answer is B. Question 7. While preparing to run a marathon, Amelia created a training schedule in which distance of her longest run every week increased by a constant amount. If Amelia's training schedule requires that her longest run in week 4 is a distance of 8 miles, and her longest run in week 16 is a distance of 26 miles, which of the following best describes how the distance Amelia runs changes between week 4 and week 16 of her training schedule? Well, here she's scaling up increasing miles for her marathon. In her 4th week of training, her long run will be 8 miles. And then in week 16, she'll do almost the full length of a marathon, or 26 miles. So in planning this out, we can figure out the slope. The change in miles of her long run for the week divided by the change in training week, not training day. So it should be 26 minus 8 miles over 16 minus 4 weeks, which means that she increases her mileage by 18 miles over a course of 12 weeks. That simplifies to increasing her long run each week by 1.5 miles per week. The correct answer is D. Amelia increases the distance of her longest run by 1.5 miles each week. Question 8. Which of the following equations represents a line that is parallel to the line with the equation y equals negative 3x plus 4? Well, parallel lines have the same slope ratio. So what we need to do is we need to find when slope m, which we know is negative 3, is the same for the parallel line. But these are all in the standard form, so we want to convert each one into slope-intercept form. The way to do that most efficiently is to, here for A, first I'm moving the y term so that it's alone on the left, subtract 6x, and we get 2y equals negative 6x plus 15, and dividing by 2, choice A was correct, we get that y equals negative 3x plus 7.5. That means that this line has an intercept that's 3.5 units above the given line, but it is parallel with the same downward slope of negative 3. The correct answer was A. Question number 9, a square root question. Here we're given that the square root of x minus a equals x minus 4. If a is equal to 2, which is the solution set of the equation above? Well, look at the choices. There's really combinations of 2, 3, 6, or the combination 3 and 6. So by plugging in those 3 values from those sets, 2, 3, and 6, we can see if any of the statements are true for this square root equation. If we plug in x equals 2, with knowing that a is 2, we'll have the square root of 0 equals 2 minus 4. So 0 equals minus 2 is a false statement. So 2 is not a solution to the equation that's given. Plugging in 3, we'll have the square root of 3 minus 2 equals 3 minus 4, which states that 1 equals negative 1, which is also false. So it's not 2 or 3. So we can eliminate B and C. Plugging in and A. So just confirming that D is correct, plugging in 6, we get the square root of 6 minus 2, which is the square root of 4, which is 2, equals 6 minus 4, becomes the statement 2 equals 2, which is true, and the correct answer was D. Question 10. If t plus 5 over t minus 5 equals 10, what's the value of t? Well, again, we're given a ratio and we can use our cross multiply skills. Just rewrite 10 as 10 over 1. Then we have 10 times t minus 5 equals 1 times t plus 5. Distributing, we get 10t minus 50 equals 1t plus 5. So add 50 to both sides and subtract 1t. We get 9t equals 55, divided by 9. The correct answer was D, 55 over 9. I hope this video was useful to you in preparation for your upcoming SAT exam. Thank you for watching my video.